All right, this is a product critique, a behavioral science product critique of Fabulous, the daily habit tracker. So I'm going to start here on the App Store landing page. So it says Fabulous Daily Habit Tracker, Healthy Routines and Motivation. Okay. All the preview pages, it looks like, are built around routines. So personalized daily routine, morning routine, afternoon routine, evening routine. I will say that these screens look pretty lame. They get the point across that the app is all about creating routines. I assume creating routines or tracking routines and keeping up, making sure that you follow through on different routines. But I will say it looks pretty cheesy and pretty lame. So I'm curious to see what the onboarding experience is like. Okay, I'm gonna ask the app to check. Let's see. Yeah, not magic, just science, built by behavior change experts. I guess that's interesting. It's the appeal to science and authority. 30 million people already use the Fabulous app. Okay, and that's a compelling statistic. They're using social proof there to tell you, hey, listen, a lot of people use us. We're legit. If 30 million people trust us, you should too. What is behavioral science? Behavioral science seeks to understand why people behave the way they do. It also provides solutions to help people follow through on their good intentions. Cool. So they're really going hard on this whole behavioral science angle. And then they just jump right away into a questionnaire. So how much sleep do you usually get at night? Okay, interesting. It's a personal bit of information. Got it. Do you wake up feeling well rested? Usually. How much time do you have at the start of your day? I assume that they're asking this so that they can figure out what they should suggest for me. If I have only 10 minutes free each morning, then they're going to suggest a very small routine. If I have more time, then they're going to suggest maybe a more involved routine. But realistically, they should probably just suggest a small routine for everybody to begin with. So they could probably end up skipping this question. I guess it's somewhat useful, but I probably would just cut this question personally, but I'll just say 0 to 10 minutes. Throughout the day, how are your energy levels? Let's just say medium. How satisfied are you with your current fitness level? I would say that this onboarding flow already it's pretty personal. It's asking for some, I'd say, like private information, right? It's asking for, yeah, I mean, your thoughts on how satisfied you are with your personal information level, how much energy you have, etc. And the app hasn't even told me yet how it's going to help me. I don't even know what the app really does. It seems to be related to morning, afternoon, and evening routines, like creating those for me, but I have no idea yet whether or not the app is actually going to do anything useful or anything that I really want. So already it's just asking me for so much while giving me no sense of how this information is going to be used, how the app hasn't told me yet how it's going to actually concretely and just specifically help me. So I think that similar to Noom, this app is already falling into some bad UX. I think there's some questionable product decisions here. Let's see. So, how satisfied are you with your current fitness level? I'll just say somewhat. Over the past year, what's been your experience building better habits? Okay. We hear you. What single change would improve your life? Interesting. So they're focusing on these 4 areas: energy, productivity, mindfulness, and sleep. I'm assuming that they've learned over the years that these are the 4 biggest concerns of people. I'll just say energy. How often do you focus on the past or the future? Interesting. I'll just say some of the time. I can enjoy life because of the way I'm managing my money. Once again, these questions seem really random. There's no because. There's no we need to know this because. They're not giving me a sense of what I'm building, like what I'm building towards. Like what will all this information be used for? Is it like it would be I think it would be more useful if they told me, "Hey, we need to ask you a few questions to come up with an optimized set of morning, afternoon, and evening routines for you. Don't worry, all this information will be kept private, and you can have confidence in us to make sure that none of your personal information will be misused. This is just between you and us. So please answer a few of these questions. It would also be, I think, more confidence inspiring if, for example, after answering a question like this, if they said, hey, thank you, this is helpful for this bit of information will really help us develop the best morning routine for you, or something like that. Just give me some information or give me some feedback as to why this is actually useful or helpful. I'll just say I agree, but I think it's a pretty bad question. Giving a gift for a wedding, birthday, or other occasion would put a strain on my finances for a month. Once again, it just seems completely random and it's just a strange question. I don't think it's a well-designed question. I'll say neither agree nor disagree. How strong is your support system? Interesting. Okay, I'll just say medium. How distractible are you? I'll just say I'm answering all these questions not based on how I actually feel, but because I want to mimic what I think the average user will input, right? I think the average user probably, if you just look at the stats on your average American, doesn't have that much money saved up. They don't have that much money available in case of emergencies. They don't necessarily have that many confidants, right? People are pretty lonely these days. Most people, I think, struggle with distraction and focus. So I'll say that I'm easily distracted here. Why are you embarking on this journey to build healthy habits? An interesting set of options. Let's see, I'll say to set and achieve goals. Almost there. Tell us what you're interested in. It does seem like they're just throwing the kitchen sink at you here, right? Like just every self-help, personal development thing imaginable, right? Productivity, self-discipline, financial habits, physical wellness, better sleep, purpose and motivation, gratitude, mindfulness. Seems like they just went to Amazon.com and looked at the self-help subcategories or something and just picked everything. Interesting strategy. Let's see, what will I say here? I'm just going to say something like, let's say anxiety and stress. I'm curious to see what they think about that. Behavior change, cool. Mindfulness, and let's say productivity. Let's just pick these four. All right, they're doing the whole, we're finalizing your personal journey. We're analyzing all the data you gave us to come up with a plan. Okay, cool. So here are the results. It looks like we hear you loud and clear. You're embarking on this journey to build more energy. Fitness could be better. So they're summarizing everything you've told them, right? They're saying your fitness could be better, your support system could be better, your mindfulness could be better, your productivity could be better. Cool. Fabulous was born at the Duke University Center for Advanced Hindsight. 96% of users say Fabulous has changed their lives for the better. Fabulous is 22 million users strong. So they're saying, earlier they said Fabulous had, I think, 30 million users. So there's already kind of a discrepancy here where on this page it says 22 million users. Before they said 30 million users. So that, I think that's just a detail maybe they overlooked. It definitely destroys some trust there because they're already giving me data. This figure of 96%, I'm assuming they just got that from one of those annoying pop-ups that pops up inside of the app where they say, are you enjoying Fabulous so far, or has Fabulous helped you so far? And then it just says yes or no, but they probably make the yes button really big or something so that everybody hits yes. Just because 96%, I just find it highly unlikely that if you were to actually get a sample of everybody who downloaded the app, including the people who churned, that 96% of those people would say the app has made their life better. So whenever you see stats like this, it's always usually based on manipulative or misleading statistics. It's probably just, how do you define a user? Is a user somebody who stayed with you for at least a month or 2 months or 3 months? If you define a user in a very constraining way, where you're basically filtering out everybody who didn't find the app useful, then you get freakish statistics like this. So I'm just guessing that's probably how they came up with this stat. So that's just something to be aware of. Looks like they want you to share your growth plan. I just think that stuff like this is just gimmicky and just doesn't create a great experience. Like, they're already pushing you to share a growth plan based on just a few multiple choice questions. I'd be surprised if anybody really does this. I bet you almost nobody does this, or if people do, it might just be on accident. I just think it's strange to ask people to share a growth plan. That just seems like a gimmicky growth hack. So far, I think that they've overall done a pretty bad job with the onboarding experience from a behavior design perspective. They haven't really given us a picture of how they're going to help us. They haven't really given us a reason, any reasons behind any of their questions. They've thrown the whole kitchen sink at us in terms of the ways that they can help us. They have conflicting data, so 30 million versus 22 million. Yeah, I think it's overall just a quite poor onboarding experience thus far. But anyways, I'm just going to tap on the screen, click through. So now they ask finally for my name, Jason. Oh, did they ask for a full name? Oh, first name. Okay, Jason. Age 36. How do you identify? At times we'll provide gender-specific recommendations. I'll say, man, when do you wake up generally? Okay. It's interesting that they anchor you at such an early time, or early times. I guess these would be the most common times people would wake up. But yeah, I wake up at around 8. So I'll say 8 a.m. Your email required. Okay, Jason at the behavioralscientist.com. Please do not send me motivational emails. Interesting. So they have this option, this opt-out option right here, but it's non-standard UI. Like, I've never really seen a checkbox that looks like that. I think most people probably just overlook that opt-out checkbox, but let's see, Jason at thebehavioralscientist.com. So I'll say continue. Interesting. So they're having you do this contract stuff. So I, Jason, will make the most of tomorrow. I will always remember that I will not live forever. Every fear and irritation that threatens to distract me will become fuel for building my best life one day at a time. Hint, tap and hold the fingerprint to commit. Pre-committing to a goal via contracts like this has been shown to inspire action and reduce procrastination. There is some, definitely some behavioral science research that seems to show that pre-commitment can have an impact on goal completion and just behavioral follow-through, but it's pretty weak, right? Especially in a situation like this. Committing to somebody you care about, right? Like a spouse or a family member that you have a deep relationship with, or close friends, your friend group, right? A pre-commitment, a commitment in a situation like that, like definitely is going to be a lot more impactful than committing to a computer or an application or this unknown entity, an unknown digital entity. I think that what this app is doing so far is I think that they're just, in a way that's inelegant, they're just throwing all these behavioral science, behavior change tactics at you, the user, in a way that I think is probably pretty ineffective. They're just like, oh, hey, okay, we should pre-commitment and commitment contracts increase behavior change. Let's have them before even entering the application, just like commit to us and to themselves, right? Like by doing this fingerprint contract, or hey, let's get them to tell us what they are really motivated by and what they really care about, and get them to share their improvement plan that we will create for them. And in general, I just think that these are awkward, basic attempts at behavior change using research that is just not all that effective. Okay, so now I'm doing this fingerprint contract. That's a nice animation. So enjoy your first week. It's free. Jason, do you copy? It's me, future Jason. I'm calling from 2024 because today is an important day for you, for us. Sunday, March 5th, 2023 is the day we decide to change our lives for the better. I have excellent news. I'm healthy, in great shape, and worry-free thanks to the choices you're making. I'll be with you every step of the way. Future Jason. Okay, so looks like you get a free week. Great. So I just signed up for this free trial. Your purchase was successful. Okay. I do think it's a little frustrating, a little weird that they make you subscribe or kind of pre-commit to paying before entering the app. In general, I think the best practice for any product is going to be to get people in to the application before they pay and kind of show them what they will get, show them how you can help them, and even, if possible, give them a great kind of first experience. Do something valuable for them within the first minute, 2, 3, 5 during their first experience inside of your product or your service. And then after you've shown them, hey, here's how I can help you. Look, I've already helped you move towards your goal. At that point, then you can say, hey, in order to continue, I need you to pay or subscribe or commit to pay. But I do think it's in general not a good idea to have a paywall before entering the main experience. My hunch is that what they're doing here is they're just trying to get people, most people when they sign up for trials and get on this auto pay billing, they forget about it. So they're like, oh, I want to check out Fabulous, or I want to check out this other app. So they sign up for a free trial to get charged in a week, and then they forget about it, and then they never use the app again. And then 2 or 3 months later, they're checking their credit card statement, and then they see 3 charges from that app, and then they then go into iTunes and cancel or ask for a refund or whatever. My hunch is that that's why companies in general do this sort of thing, is they just want to, I think, trick a certain percentage of new users into signing up, knowing that they'll forget to cancel and that they'll get at least a couple or a few months of payment. I don't think that's a great way of operating an app or a business, but a ton of companies do this. It's extremely common. If it was me, I wouldn't do this, but I do think that this has become more normalized in recent years. So anyway, I just signed up for Fabulous Premium. It says we sent you a special letter. You will find delightful content and features to keep you on track and new journeys to discover, unlimited access and customization. We thank you for being with us. The fabulous journey awaits. Okay, let's get. There's just so much text, so much introductory content. It's just a little much. Thank you, Jason. I remember this day. I wondered if this would work. Would I finally follow through this time? I didn't know whether or not I could do it. Here's a secret: you can. How do I know? I'm future you. I did it. We did it. I'm here to tell you this journey into the world of Fabulous leads to your future self. You'll soon build your morning, afternoon, and evening rituals that become your rocks. But first, start your morning with one simple habit: drinking water. I know what you're thinking. It's what I thought too. Drinking water is too simple. As your future self, I'm asking you to trust me because I've done it. I know you want to rush headlong into success. You've waited this long. Let this new way of life sink in. Every step, no matter how small, is a triumph. Get used to congratulations for every effort you make. You'll see things one step at a time. Start to breathe easy as you realize this is a place without negative judgment. Watch your resolve become fortified as you slowly grow your routines far beyond drinking water. Learn the art of habit building. You didn't just find an app that shows you what you want. You found an app that shows you how to get it. Believe in yourself, believe in me, believe in us. Always your friend, future. I can appreciate what they're doing here. I understand what they're trying to do here. I personally find this pretty cheesy. I think for a certain type of user, this could be compelling and motivating, but I do think almost everybody's just going to click continue and just skip past this. I also do find it interesting that they've been pushing the behavioral science angle really hard, but then they also talk about the art of habit building here. It's interesting that they've switched away from the science angle and now they're calling it an art rather than a science, instead of saying learn the science of habit building. I just think that's interesting, but we can go on to the next screen. How did you hear about us? Okay, cool. I'll just say friend or family. Do you already do any of these habits? Okay. Breathe. I hope everybody breathes. I hope everybody's in the breathing habit. Let's just say exercise, meditation, to-do list. Cool. Jason's first step. A Duke University study states that people who used Fabulous were more likely to achieve their goals, stay motivated, and feel better about themselves in 2 weeks. Now it's your turn. Okay. Interesting. So there's 2 options. Continue and let me explore first. I want to have the prototypical user experience, which I assume is continuing. So I'm going to hit continue, but I am very interested in knowing what let me explore first, like what happens when you click on that. I do find it interesting that the rule of thumb in the world of behavioral science is that a study is just as likely to be finding from a study is just as likely to be false as it is to be true. So you should not inherently trust behavioral science research. There have been a lot of studies over the years looking at kind of the reliability of research, like how likely is it to replicate. Some of the earlier replication studies showed something like a 36% replication rate. So more than half of studies didn't replicate. More recent research has pulled that number in the 50 to 60% range. I personally think that that 50%, a 50% reproducibility rate is roughly what one should expect. I think that's it's a conservative figure to use. Is that, okay, if you hear about a new scientific study, a new behavioral science study, just flip a coin and heads or tails, it's just as likely to be true as it is to be false. So you should approach everything with a great degree of skepticism. And I'd say that if a study in general is being done for commercial purposes, right? If a company is running a study to test whether or not their product or their service is effective, you should push down and that makes it less likely that you can trust a positive result. So what I would say in this situation is I think one should be very skeptical of a Duke University study finding that this app is successful at helping people achieve their goals, since this app was created by a group from Duke. So I do think that there's an inappropriate kind of financial incentive that the researchers have. And it also is very interesting that they do not say how much more likely fabulous users were to achieve their goals. Is it some absolutely minuscule? Is it like 2% more likely, 5% more likely? How much more likely are people? How much more likely is it that fabulous users are able to achieve their goals versus a group that didn't use fabulous or use some other goal setting or routine-based technique or something? I think, you should always be very skeptical of this stuff. Okay, the mountains. First mountain, the foundation. Welcome to Fabulous. Mountains are cornerstones to build your fabulous self. Adventure through 3 levels to master these mountains. Interesting. Okay. The first mountain forms the bedrock of your daily habits. Your foundation is fostered here. The second mountain shapes your inner world. You confront and fortify your mind here. The third mountain empowers your mind. You lay out and voyage the path you envision for yourself here. Okay. It's a breathtaking journey, onwards to your first journey. So I do like that they are giving you a detailed path, right? They're giving you step-by-step instructions in a sense to improving your life. And I think step-by-step instructions, by getting rid of all of the paralysis and getting rid of the infinite options one can take in order to improve their life, like by boiling that down into a predefined set of like specific to-dos, I do think that can be very useful. But I'm very interested in seeing how they structure this as an experience. One last thing. People who turn on notifications are 3 times as likely to achieve their goal. Would you like to succeed in building effective habits? Okay. It's a manipulative way of describing or getting people to turn on their notifications, right? They're basically saying that turning on notifications means that you want to succeed. I think it's a little manipulative, but I get it. And I would be interested in seeing how more likely people are to click on the opt-in button with this language versus versus simpler language, something, yes, feel free to send me notifications or something, or yes, send me notifications. Like, one last thing, would you like us to notify you when there's a to-do or new action step that we want you to take? Yes, please do, or yes, please send me notifications or something. Yes, I want to succeed. Okay. I'll just say yes for now. Okay. I'll allow them to send me notifications. An unexpected journey. Okay, let's watch this. For the next 3 days, drink water when you wake up to kickstart your body and start your day with success. Do it 3 times this week to succeed. And then there's an interesting tooltip here. Why am I doing this? I know, Jason. This just feels too simple, but we have a plan for you. We're starting very small so we can build strong foundations. Soon your goals will rise to caring for your physical and mental health. Okay, cool. Cool, I accepted. Interesting. So welcome, Jason. This is your morning routine. Tap on the circle to see how to complete your goal. Drinking water. Great. So you just tap the checkbox to mark it as done. Give it a try. So I just tap that. Cool. Let's see, letter number
It's common to think that habits either stick or they don't. You either remember why you started or you forget entirely. Motivation either keeps flowing or it just dries up. Your behavior may not seem rational, but it is certainly not random. Every decision, every action is the result of a million invisible forces that build it up or break it down. People who build good habits that become part of who they are haven't found infinite willpower. They've found freedom from a force called friction. Friction is the invisible force that makes healthy routines hard. But Fabulous has a formula rooted in behavioral science that's helped millions of users like you overcome it. Start slow, send an invitation, plant signals, let wins in, and find your rhythm. Practicing this formula of routines is key to making it stick. Habit building is a skill you can learn and master, just like how you might have learned to speak a language or drive a car until it became automatic. You are about to hardwire yourself with the ability to build lifelong habits. Starting slow is the quiet but vital act of courage that marks true greatness. Though the new habit you're about to add may seem too tiny to make a difference, bringing an intention to life through action, small, sustainable action, is the magic that fuels change that lasts. Reduce the friction points on your path to positive change. Learn to challenge and change your mindset, and simply begin with one small action. Once you take this courageous first step, you'll have catapulted yourself towards a future that seems nothing short of superhuman. In the next lesson, you'll learn another strategy for overcoming your personal obstacles to change.
Okay, so kind of a cheesy video. Let's see, read the letter. Interesting, okay. So they have it in written form too. I guess you can share it, so they let you share all this content with people. Let's go to the next step here. It's weird, I keep hitting done, what's next? And, oh, okay, that's just some bad UI. And it looked like the video is already marked as viewed, but you actually have to hit the mark as viewed book. That's just bad UX, but it's fine. Easy fix. So you're all set. We will gently remind you tomorrow to drink water with a very subtle sound. Are you going to drink water tomorrow? So they're just trying to get you to pre-commit, right? They're just using all this, what I think is ineffective behavioral science research to try and hack your way to following through on a habit. Just because committing to an app, once again, it matters who you commit to, right? Committing to somebody that you care can be impactful. Committing to an app, I just have no faith that it has any discernible long-term effect. So I'm just going to say, are you going to drink water tomorrow? Cool. I'll say, yes, I will. Why not? Great determination. According to behavioral science plan making, according to behavioral science, okay, a little bit awkward. It's a little bit of a awkward writing here. According to behavioral science, plan making makes us more likely to follow through on our habits. We recommend you think through when, where, and how you will drink water tomorrow. So this whole area of research is called implementation intention research, where it's like you come up with, like, whenever you're coming up with whenever you have an intention to do something, the whole idea is you come up with a specific plan for like when, where, and how you're going to actually follow through with that intention. I believe that the main research was done, I believe it was at Yale University, around getting people to get vaccinated or something along those lines. I actually don't know how many studies have been done on this topic. I don't know if it's just like a couple of studies or if there's like a huge body of research on implementation intentions. I would need to go back and brush up on this literature, but the original studies were, if I remember correctly, very small. They didn't have a ton of participants and they were done a long time ago. This is another one of those things that I'm like skeptical about, like especially for a a like drinking water. For something like getting a vaccine, I could see it being a little bit more impactful, because if you ask a random person on a college campus, hey, if you to go get your tetanus booster, where would you go? A lot of people probably wouldn't know, right? They'd be like, maybe the hospital, or maybe I'd have to find a doctor and create an appointment, or a lot of people probably wouldn't know that you can just go to the student health center and walk in and just go to a particular desk and give them your name. And so getting rid of that uncertainty and saying, hey, here's specifically how you can do it, and here's how to get there, and here's the center that you need to go to. That actually is useful. You're actually helping that person or those people figure out how to do that behavior. You're getting rid of some barriers, actual barriers there. With something like drinking water, especially in your own home, in your own house, as part of your morning routine, there are no actual barriers there. There are no information barriers. There's nothing preventing you from doing that very quickly and easily. So with something where there's an actual kind of, where there's an information barrier or just people don't even know how to do it, I have no doubt that giving them that information and having them giving them a specific step-by-step plan for doing it at some point in the future, I have no doubt that helps to a certain degree. I don't think the effect is going to be huge, but I do think that will help to a certain degree. But for something like this, drinking water, I feel pretty confident in saying that this will have no impact, or if it does have an impact, it's going to be so small that it's just like laughable. So I do think that implementation intentions, in this case, doing something incredibly easy that you've done a million times before in your own home, I really think this will have no effect. But this is just another example of the people at this company. They're just throwing every behavioral science concept possible at their users to try and get them to follow through on these behaviors. And it just comes across as a little bit gimmicky and cheesy to me. That video that just played, I think, is pretty cheesy. So overall, I think that there are much better ways, I think, of doing everything that they've tried to do here in a way that better respects the user, that has a better user experience, and that kind of more effectively gets kind of users on board with what they're trying to do. But I'll just say, yes, please remind me. Great. Let's embark on our journey. Okay, so we filled out letter number 1. Now they're saying drink water. Okay, so they want me to do this today. So have an open task to drink water. I'll say that I've consumed the water today. It says, way to go. Great work today, Jason. Your commitment to drink water is working. 1 out of 3. Great. Off you go. You did it, Jason. You're already forming healthy habits through small steps. Will you commit to completing drink water tomorrow? Why not? Okay. Gratitude is contagious. Every thank you adds a link to the positivity chain. Write a letter, make a call, and see someone completely with gratitude in your heart. Interesting. Okay, so they're basically chaining actions together. Like every action you take inside of the application, they give you another step to do, right? It's a pretty good idea, I think. This is just so lame. So instead of giving you complete freedom to send gratitude in your own way, they're basically pushing you to send this cheesy piece of art, this cheesy image with thank you for your help. So if I click text, I don't know. This just seems like a gimmicky, bad growth hack. So instead of checked off that I drank water today and they said, great, another good practice is expressing and practicing gratitude. Do you want to express gratitude to somebody? And then if you say yes, they give you this image that you can share or text. And then when you click on the text button to text somebody with what looks like an image, it pulls up this message that they've already pre-filled for you, which is, I'm starting a 3-day and unexpected journey challenge. I don't think we've ever been exposed to this term, an unexpected journey, or if we have, it just passed through my mind. So that's a little surprising and a little weird. A random person, if I did text this to somebody, nobody else would know what an unexpected journey means. So I think they would just be confused. So I think that whoever wrote this just didn't really think through the user experience here. It's just so far, it's just not a good message. It says, you inspired me to be my best, and I wanted you to know that. During my challenge, will you hold me accountable? Research has shown that I'll be more likely to complete the challenge with your help want to follow along. Get the app here. So I think this is awful. I'm not going to lie. I think this is really, really bad. They turned what seemed like an innocent or an impactful exercise, which is like practicing gratitude or being grateful. They turned it into just a spammy recruiting growth hack. And the message isn't even written well. I think it would be much better if they just said, hey, the second, it would be a much better experience. And I think it would help the user a lot more if after drinking the water, doing your first challenge, your first activity of the day, they said, hey, another one of the most impactful things you can do, another one of the most impactful daily actions you can take as part of your routine is expressing gratitude, especially to the people that you love and care about. Is there somebody that that you really care about that you haven't talked to in a while, or that you haven't expressed your gratitude to in a while? And then maybe you can click yes, and it says, great. Just text them a small note of appreciation. Here are some example notes from other users. And maybe they could give you some examples of texts that people have used in the past or that people have submitted to the Fabulous community. And that would be kind of cool. But instead, there's a little bit of a bait and switch happening here, which is that it felt like I was being asked to do another action, to take up another challenge. And instead, what they were doing is they're just trying to wrangle me into spamming my friends for them just so they could get more downloads. This is horrible. This is just a really bad, in really poor taste and just badly done. So I am going to close. It's possible that I misread the previous window, but at least that was the impression I got about what they wanted me to do and like the purpose of that. Now we're done here. So today is your day, Jason. Your action: put the bottle of water by your bedside. So I actually think this is like a pretty good idea. So they're just trying to get you to make the behavior that they want you to do easier. So if your goal every day is drinking water as part of your morning ritual, then yes, if you actually fill a bottle up with water and put it by your bedside, right, it's just going to be easier upon waking to engage in that behavior. Tonight before sleeping, put the water bottle by your bedside to be sure you'll drink water first thing in the morning. Jason, you can tap remind me to set up a reminder to yourself for tonight. Cool. I think that's a good idea. They should probably clarify that fill up a bottle of water and place it by your bedside. They should probably add in that extra instruction to fill the bottle of water up or something. I'm sure that most people will do that anyway, but it wouldn't hurt to explicitly state that element as well. So here we are. This is my plan for today. Letter number 1, drink water. Put the water bottle by my bedside. So they're having me do this. There's other things I can do. So they have like focus coaching. So how to handle costly interruptions. It looks like these are, based on the thumbnails, it looks like these are those kind of in those animated video forms, like in the format of those animated videos that we saw before. There's a discover section, find your flow state, motivation booster, journey. So interesting. I think this is pretty cool, like giving you a specific clear roadmap and showing you like how far you are on the path. And you can see already you're 3% of the way through. You've done one of the 27 things that you're supposed to do. That's cool. But overall, I think that this app hasn't done very many things well so far. I think it's a bit of an awkward application. The user experience is not great. The science that this app is using isn't all that great. I think they're copying and pasting behavioral science tactics in a way that is a little awkward or doesn't really make sense for the behaviors that they're trying to encourage. I'm skeptical everybody should be skeptical of most social science and behavioral science research just because it doesn't have a great track record. And I think that a lot of the research that they're using in here just isn't going to be all that impactful. There seems to be this assumption that if getting somebody to follow through with a small, easy habit or to form small, easy habits will have this spillover effect or this ripple effect through the rest of their lives, so that if you get somebody drinking water, doing something simple like that every day, then suddenly that'll empower them to pick up bigger, more challenging tasks and to form bigger, more challenging habits. And I don't know if I've ever seen any believable or compelling research that really shows that. It's an idea that I think is intuitively, it's an idea that sounds reasonable. It's something that seems, that is like a bit, it's an attractive idea. I'm just thinking back through all the papers I've read, and I don't think I've ever seen a paper that really shows that in any meaningful sense. I should go back and do a search through the literature and just see if there's any good showing that creating one habit makes creating other habits easier, or that there is this kind of snowball effect where, yeah, you create one habit, it makes it easier to create another habit, which then makes it easier to create yet another habit. But I think that the fundamental premise of this application may be flawed. And I think that drinking water or doing something this small in general just isn't that compelling to people. And so I have a hard time imagining people coming back and doing this day after day. And then I have a hard time seeing people stay motivated by the tiny habits that this app is having them do. Overall, I think that there's a lot that can be worked on here, especially in the onboarding. And I think that there's some core elements of just the app itself and the way that it's structured and its premises. I think that there's a lot that needs to be worked on here. And I think that the world is very hungry for behavioral science content and behavioral science help. And I just think that this application is taking advantage of that. It's taking advantage of kind of the modern obsession with behavioral science and the idea that there's science that can reliably help people change their behavior and change their lives. I think it's capitalizing on that, but I don't think that using this application, based on what I've seen, will have a big impact on changing people's behavior. In fact, I think that what's happening is this is similar to the weight loss app in that the onboarding flow of this application is bad enough and it's long enough that I think most people who aren't incredibly motivated to change their lives or to form new habits will get filtered out during the onboarding process. And I think that the people that actually make their way into the app and actually use it are the very most motivated people, in terms of people who are just the most motivated to form new habits, to do self-help stuff. And so I think what the application is doing is it's filtering out everybody who's not very motivated, just letting in the most motivated people. And then I think it's taking credit for the high motivation levels of the people that make their way through. So I think you have a selection. Basically, there's a selection effect here. They're selecting for the people most hungry for personal change. Those people would have changed their lives, or they would have made big strides in their lives without this app, just because they're very motivated. But this app is just letting those people in. It's throwing what I think are fairly ineffective behavioral science tactics at them, and then it's taking credit for their change, their high motivation caused change. And so that's my hunch of what's happening here. But I can do future videos looking at other aspects of the app or looking at the day-to-day experience. But that is my initial take. Thanks so much.